All right, how you doing? How's everything going? It's Tuesday night. I figured why don't I do a very quick impromptu live stream, just so you guys don't think that I forgot about you. I definitely didn't. I'm actually streaming again on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, which is really cool. And so I'm happy about that. Hey, what's up there, Brian? Good to see ya. Very cool. So I decided to do a very quick impromptu live stream. Let's see, in my Airbrush studio. So that's what we're going to continue to work on. So I have the different cameras going. So this was originally going to be an underpainting, but I'm thinking of actually going ahead and making this a full-on ink painting, just doing India inks. Joe, how's it going? Good to see you. Vegas, all right. It's great out there. It's good to see you, Joe. Love your work, man. Okay, so let's see. Let's just go ahead and see. I have my test paper over here. Before I actually go in there, I just want to make sure that I'm okay with the air pressure. I am working on the CMSB, of course, one of the best airbrushes out there. Anyone who's used it knows what I mean. This is just a beautiful thing to get your hands on, especially with India ink. It just feels really good in the hand. So, all right, so let's start at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is continue with these eyes, and let's make this happen here. You get pretty good control, so I'm not going to use a freehand shield here. I think I'm pretty confident with that. And I have my reference on the monitor here. Uh-oh. What's interesting is when I pulled down on the air, the actual paint was coming out. And on any of you who know when that happens, that's a problem. So basically what I had to do was check for tip dry and also make sure the needle was going all the way forward. So it seems by doing that I solved the problem. So that's always scary. That's why it's good to test out on the test paper before you go in on the actual artwork. Feel free, guys, to ask any questions. And same thing here. Let's go ahead and darken this above area here. So this mixture, I'm using Higgins Waterproof India ink, and with that I'm doing a 1-to-1 mixture of the ink and regular water. And that gives you a good mid-tone, actually a little bit on the dark side. Remember, always paint in 3 dimensions. Always use the distance to your advantage to go darker or lighter. That's another tool to use. Yes, exactly. 1-to-1 there, Jake. Exactly. Again, by testing, it looks like alright, so it might be, when this happens, when you see here, you press down and it still continues to bring paint out when you're not pulling back. meaning that there's probably something in this nozzle here. And sometimes if you blow it out, that fixes it. But if it's in the nozzle, then it's going to continue. And it looks like it is. Let me just pull this back a little bit, move the needle a little bit, twirl it. Sometimes that will pull that out. But I am still getting it. If this continues, I'll clean it later and just, employ another brush here. I don't got time during live feed for you guys to watch me clean an airbrush. I'm going to very quickly put this, so when this happens here, you'll see that it could be this little thing right here. It could be right here in the air cap. There could be a little bit of dry paint here. So let me go ahead and park this brush, and I'm just going to go run this through water. Just be 1 second. One thing though that I want you to take away from this is if the brush is not working correctly, do not continue working with that brush. Until it's working correctly, it's not going to help you. So I'm looking at this again. Okay. So it looks like for now, it is try again. So thinking that it keeps coming back, there might be something in the nozzle, but right now it looks like I temporarily fixed it. So if it happens again, then I'm going to pull out my Eclipse SBS. When working sometimes in something as delicate as that, as you see, sometimes it actually is beneficial to just go ahead and employ a bunch of dots together, little dashes, and then you can get that control. It's just another way of getting control. Remember, everyone out there who has great control, they're not magicians. They just found techniques of doing it and they practiced. So don't look at them and say, oh my God, I'm never going to get like that. Because that's ridiculous. If you guys practice anything, you're going to get there. So, practice. Okay, so far we're doing okay with the nozzle problem. Exactly, Jake. Practice is everything. That's the secret weapon. If anyone wants to know a secret weapon to anything, that is practice. Time. And I know you're putting time in, so that's pretty cool. So it's glad to hear that you're doing that. That's going to go a long way. You're being a big success out there, Jake. Let's see if we can employ some freehand shields here. Let's see. This is too big. This is pretty good. It's a nice small size. Hard edge there. And let's start this up. Let's work on some of this edge work here, especially on the side of her face, her cheeks. A lot of times I would use Frisket for this, but sometimes you just want to do a quick painting. Don't be too fixed on one technique. Just try and do no, actually, what I'm doing, Jake, is building everything up. But I like to start with the. I like starting with the darks when it comes to the eyes. But if you notice, I built it up from still working light to dark. I'm just doing the accents now because there's really not much left to do. And then over here, we're going to continue with that edge there. And be careful not to go too dark, or too wet, I should say. So since I've already established a lot of the lights, or just worked very lightly, I can come to this particular stage, Jake. On that soft edge here. And of course I'm going to erase that pencil line. So how is the how does it look? Does it look good and clear, guys? Notice how you can just crawl the freehand shield up to get that nice hard edge. Same thing here. Oh, thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. Well, it depends, because the cheeks are kind of hard-edged over here, and then it sort of gets soft edge as we go down. So always pay attention. Always pay attention to your reference or your model, because they're going to tell you what's hard and soft. So let's work on over here. Since we are working on these I would next time, because that's very good, Joe. That's probably really good advice. So I can probably move it a good 4 feet away, but I'll do that next time, definitely. Thanks for that heads up, Joe. Yeah, it's a little loud. Actually, it's a quiet compressor, but it is pretty close to the mic. So sorry about that. Good thing is it's a 5 gallon, so it won't go off too often, thank God. Alright, let's go ahead and see if I can maybe darken this area, this eyebrow here. And remember, what you do on the left side, you do on the right side, always. Don't wait. My teacher, Harvey Dinnerstein, said, why wait? Do it now. As you can see, I'm working in kind of like dagger strokes. So when I teach my students, and when whoever your teacher is, and they teach you, always remember that, you know, the dagger strokes are very important. That's why you practice them. Let's see, do I have another freehand shield? I want to get some of those mini freehand shields. Those are great. I seen in one of Marissa's videos that she had one, so that's going to be my next investment, or set up the real mini freehand shields, because they will come in handy. There we go, see that beautiful hard edge? Make sure you hit it exactly where, you know, just you aim exactly where you want the turn to be. Just don't go like that, because then you'll have this line you don't want. So that's no good. Alright. Let's go ahead and darken this side. And you build them together, you know, you're building up the darks. Even though this is a dark area, we're still building up the darks until it's where I want it to be. There are some eyelashes here, but I'm going to wait on that for obvious reasons. So what we can do now that India ink is the one medium where there's pencil lines underneath, and if this was done in, let's say, acrylic, you would not be able to erase them. They would be there forever. But now I can erase them. And once I erase the pencil marks, you'll see that I can actually go darker still. And then what we have here is a clean image with no pencil lines whatsoever. See here, you still see the pencil lines? Well, that's helping us. That's our guide. That's why we work so hard in the drawing stages. Because you want to work hard in the drawing stages so you don't have to worry about drawing with this, or you don't have to rely on stencils. You wanted to have your handwriting in there. That's why every Wednesday night I do drawing tutorials, because drawing is everything. Drawing is 100% the best part of every painting. So you want to have as much as your own drawing in there as possible. So let's see if we could get this dark here. Yep, that's what we want to do. And that's going to help to pull this finger forward from the face. We're going to go darker still, but we're just establishing at this point. That's very cool, yes. That's a very good point, Jake, definitely. And then since we went ahead and lightened everything up by erasing, we can go ahead and go a little bit darker, but only darker because I went ahead and actually lightened. Only darker now, but only because I let it dry, I should say. Nice hard edge there. Let's see if we could pull up a hard edge right here. There we go. And of course you can crawl with freehand shields. Make sure that you do not reapply wet paint or ink in this case. So make sure this is dry. Wipe this on a pair of pants you don't like. That's going to help you. Because if it's wet, it's going to reposition your paint. That wouldn't be bad. All right, Jake, thanks for stopping by, man. It's so cool of you. And so I'll talk to you soon. Don't work too hard tomorrow. Okay, Okay, so you can see how we're developing the eyes, and then we're going to continue with that. But you want to definitely move around. You don't want to stay in one area. Okay, that's very important. What we can do is we can shape sometimes when we have to, using some of these aggressive erasers. As I see here, a little more rounded there. And sometimes you lose your drawing, but as long as you pay attention, you can regain that back. And you'll see as I continue to build this up, we're going to get some really nice effects. Just regain the drawing. If you drew it out in the first place, you're going to really understand where things have kind of changed with the airbrush. Hey, take care, Joe. Thanks for stopping by, man. Continue to regain the drawing there. So let's see if we can crawl down a little bit. Work on this large area of the cheek. Make sure you get the inner contours, sort of the contours on the inside. And that's going to go a long way in getting your lightness. Remember, further away, it's lighter. Also, pulling back less also is going to help you a great deal. Doing is we're shaping the large forms. The largest form, of course, is her head. Smaller forms would be the eyes, nose, lips, but the larger form is her head. We'll get dark enough there, but I'm not going to oversaturate the surface. Separation from the finger in the background or parts of her hair. And find that contour and then sort of crawl the freehand shield for the contour you're looking for. Let the ink catch up to the surface. But when I say let the ink catch up to the surface, I'm saying let it dry before I go over it. If you go too wet, you're going to know you made a mistake, because there's a real serious repercussion by doing that. It stains, and it's just going to kill it. It's going to kill your surface. So let's see. I'm going to change the angle a little bit. See, this is soft edged, so I'm not worried about freehand shield too much. And a variety of hard and soft edges, which is going to give your work a real feeling of realism, or just looking like a professional painting. It's going to really make a big difference. Trust me. And of course, looking for the right freehand shield. Hard edge, freehand shield. Soft edge, no freehand shield. Same thing here with her fingers. They have to be hard edged. And of course, if you don't catch this, I'm going to leave this on Facebook and YouTube. Let's make sure we don't oversaturate this. We can always go darker. Correct shield, or even the correct part of the shield for what you're painting. It'll go a long way. See that beautiful hard edge? Real rich dark over fingernail polish. You always get wetter, always get darker the second time, third time, fourth time around. So don't oversaturate that. I'm going to say that a lot because that will cause major issues down the line. So right now I have a mixture of 3 parts ink, 3 parts water. When I want to go even darker, I'll probably do a mixture of, let's say, 4 parts ink, 2 parts water. And this way we'll go even darker, and we're slowly building this up. but it's really going to pay dividends, so take your time, no rush. If there is a rush, you probably accepted a deadline that was didn't give you enough time. When there's no deadline, it's for yourself, there is no rush. This is a very dark area right here. And an extremely hard edge. Over here we have a hard edge. But it's not too dark. But like I said, crawl. You want to crawl your freehand shield. Meaning you're only painting a certain area that is hitting the contour that you're looking for. Making sure you dry it, otherwise you're going to reposition the wet paint or ink that collects on this side, so be careful. As I said before, this is the Custom Micron CM-SB. You always want to periodically check for tip dry. And check to make sure paint's not coming out when you're pressing down and not pressing back. And that's what's happening here, even though it's very little. Still doing it. Let's put a little more ink in here. We are having a little bit of that issue. I bet there's a little tiny piece of paint in the fluid nozzle. Because I can get it flowing and have it stop, but it does come back. But if there was a real big problem, you would see bubbles in the back up here in the cup. That's not happening. Okay, so right here, a little bit darker, and that's an anatomical thing. I believe this is where her trachea is, so there's an indentation there. Same thing here. This is the sternocleidomastoid coming down. It's visible in the shadows here, so we're going to indicate that. And that's going to help with everything making it look real. Okay, so let's see if we can. Oh, let's see, there's a little tiny piece of a hard edge right here. Very interesting. It's right there. Not sure why, but I think that's going to help out making this all come together. Now right here, we have a little bit of dark on the other side of her jaw, her jawline. See that? I'm able to pull that out. Okay, remember, as we are going, we're going to erase the pencil lines. Erasing the pencil lines are also going to make us realize that we can go even darker. And we probably have to go ahead and refine. reestablish some of the drawing we lose when we erase these pencil lines. Some of the sharpness that were there because of the pencil is going to go away. But you'll notice that what's left is only the India ink. So right now it's been, I would say, about 45 minutes so far on this live stream. Those who are going to be watching, after this is done, I'm going to leave it video on there. I hope you enjoy it. So go ahead, send me a message either on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you do have. Like I said, originally I was thinking about having this go over this with black and white paint, and originally making this underpainting, but I'm not sure at this point. I might change my mind and just make it an India ink painting. Okay, so what we can do is kind of move down a little bit to her nose and mouth area. But right now I'm pretty happy with it. It's going slow, but that's okay. Slow and accurate is better than fast, freeze, and inaccurate. You know, when you look at paintings in the museum, you don't say, oh, this painting was done in 45 minutes. It's much better than this painting that was done in 2 years. So there's no points for having it done fast. Okay, so let's see if we can go ahead and establish test it here. Okay, we have a good flow. You can always go darker. Do not stay in the same spot too long. Like I said, you don't want to oversaturate it. So her lips aren't really hard edged, so that's why I'm not using any freehand shield on the lips. Hit that corner of the mouth there. So let's see what's happening here. So out there in Facebook, how's the sound going? You guys hear everything okay? Now we have a really nice form shadow on the under part of her nose. See if we can put that. And those who are, follow my live streams, always remember that there's a difference between form shadow and cast shadow. So definitely remember, form shadow is the light as it turns away, form as it turns away from the light, it gets darker. As it goes towards the light, it gets lighter. Now cast shadow is when something's in front of the light and it casts a shadow. That's the same exact shape as the item that is blocking the light, such as this right here. See, this is the same shape as the nose. So that's the difference between, and form shadow and cast shadow have different qualities. Cast shadows are usually darker, usually harder edge, closer to the form that is blocking the light. Cast shadows are usually more harsh. They don't usually have reflected light. And the same thing with form shadow, usually has reflected light, usually much more subtle, and a lot more going on in there. There's kind of a hard edge here on this part of the lips. And right here we have a nice rich dark. Out here, and you have this little triangle here. Of course, there are some times when you might not be accurate in the airbrush, and you just correct that with the eraser. No problem whatsoever. Okay, so let's test our airbrush, make sure it's working correctly. Making sure no paint's coming out before we pull back on the trigger. We press down for the air, we pull down for the paint. If when you're pressing down and you already have paint or ink coming out, then you have to fix that before you start painting. We have a little cast shadow here that becomes a form shadow right where it meets the lip there. And of course down the line we're going to define that a little better. Remember, closer is darker, as well as pulling back. So there's two ways to go darker and lighter. Oh, got a little wet there. Sometimes it's always better to use the pencil if you want to work out a drawing issue. So I'm going to, we all have much better control with a pencil than we do with an airbrush. And if you have better control with an airbrush than a pencil, then I think you better use the pencil a little bit more. So basically what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have this line correct. So I don't want to just rush into it and say, oh, I'm going to, no, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to take my time. You can always erase with a pencil. Let's see the brave airbrush people when you make a mistake with the airbrush. Not saying you're not going to be able to fix a mistake, but you're going to have a lot more time, harder time than doing it with the airbrush paint, that's for sure. See that? That's more important to actually get that. And then I'll erase it. So. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and lighten that a little bit. So I'm not seeing any of the comments on Facebook, so give me a moment. I'm going to resolve that. So if I didn't answer any questions on Facebook, it's because I didn't see any questions. Let's take a look. Last question or last comment was by Joe Erickson, and he had to go. Okay, so right now we have 0 people on Facebook. It's all good because these are going to stay on for my YouTube people, so they can go ahead and look at this demo. So it really doesn't matter how many people see the live feed. It would be great for them to see it, but I understand it's late at night, it's a work night, all that stuff. Okay. Checking things on YouTube. Looks like everything is pretty good. Let me do a quick test here. So we're still live, which is good. Everything's still going well. It's interesting. There's probably like a 4-second delay on what I do here and what you guys see. So I guess that's a good thing if there's a wardrobe malfunction or something like that. Just kidding. See, I nailed it because I took my time. I stepped back and said, you know what, I'm not going to go ahead and try and be all brave with the airbrush and, oh, look what I can do. I don't care what I can do. I just care about having it look good and look correct. Go. I'll tell you, this custom micron works really well. It's sort of, it just really, where you spend the extra money is worth it. Can you get good on the Eclipse? Yes. And you can do things just as well, but it's almost like, I mean, it's like if you have a Ferrari and you're on the highway, you just have a lot more fun than if you're in a Chevy and you're on the same highway. You're still going to get to where you want to go, but boy, does it feel good to do it with a custom micron. But I did a video on YouTube, the review of the custom micron, and I'll tell you, you can get 3 custom microns for the cost of, 3 Eclipses for the price of 1 custom micron. If I was starting out, I would take the 3 Eclipses. or the 2 eclipses and have that extra money to get some paints or a really good compressor. That's how I would do it. I've been airbrushing for over 5 years now, so I think, you know, I'm past the beginner stage, of course. So then it's okay to go ahead and get that mic on. But I have a confession. So my first airbrush was a Badger 150. Hated it. I didn't know any better to hate it, but you know, I was having such a hard time. Just a pain in the neck, all over the place, pain in the neck. And so it just wasn't responsive. It just was not fun. Made my life hard. Again, I didn't know any better. So what we're going to do anyway, let me just cut in here. So there's a cast shadow. Remember what I said about the difference between cast shadow and form shadows? This upper lip is casting a shadow on the lower lip here. And with that being said, you're going to go ahead and make sure you draw this correctly, otherwise it's not going to look right. So let's go ahead and work on it. Oh, thanks, Christian. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Little by little we'll get there, right? We're going to build it up slowly, and I'm not going anywhere, so I'm just going to take my time. We've been working on that Viking for a while, right, Bri? So you know about taking your time, that's for sure. But Christian's one of my students, and he's doing this painting from the show Vikings. It just looks unbelievable. And he's taking his time. We're definitely going over some of the aspects of the drawing, and it just goes to show you that patience pays off. See, by doing this with the pencil first and not being like, look what I can do. I can do it, you know, I can do it one time with the airbrush. Big fat hairy deal. So let's go ahead and do it right with the pencil first, and then we can erase. I like that. So let's go ahead and get a nice hard edge with that. Remember, good distance, it'll be nice and light. Make sure you dry off the freehand shield. You don't want to reposition wet paint. Wow. All the airbrush guys who want to show off, like, I can do it with the airbrush. Just as much, just as easy. It's correct. I have no pencil lines, and everyone can get to this. And of course, you're going to reshape this cast shadow here. That's just beautiful. That's what you want. Accuracy is so much better than showmanship. And showmanship, basically all that really serves is to make you feel like you're less than. So see that now? That goes a long way, making it look like Gal Gadot, right? Okay, so I'm really happy with that passage. I think that really works. I think that is something that really looks good. So that's definitely a plus. Alright, so now we're working on here. Let's see if we could go ahead and do some of the midtones on both side planes of her nose. So looking at the reference here, definitely the light source by the, right here, there's some highlights in her eye. I didn't indicate it, but it's just to the right and high up. So that's telling me that the light is coming this way. So that's why you have the cast shadow. The cast shadows always tell you where the light's coming from. The cast shadow is this way down, the cast shadow is up. The cast shadow is down and to the left, that means the light is up and to the right. So think about it. So that makes a big difference. So always see what the light is doing, and remember that helps you a long way, just to logically paint things out. Sun Tzu, the art of war. Every battle is won and lost before it's ever fought. See how working with the pencil? Now that's still an airbrush, but we did another step. But so what? Now we're working on this side plane here. That's going to go a long way. It's going to help establish the anatomy. It's also going to bring forward the front part of her nose from the rest of her face. A little bit of a hard edge right here. Let's see if we can reestablish that hard edge. So we have this contour of the finger here. So what we can do is we can go ahead and establish the contour by using the freehand shield. So we cover the finger and then go in with the darks of the hair here. See that? There is, let me dry this off. Let's use our pencil. Because we're working in ink, not acrylic right now. We have all that advantage by working in ink, so let's use it. Nice hard edge here. That hard edge is going to stay there, so you can't get rid of the hard edge unless you really work at it. So that hard edge is going to stay. As I get darker, you're still going to see that hard edge I established with the freehand shield. really dark here. We have some hair here. So what we're going to do is let this part be. We'll decide how to lighten it up. Let the paint or ink or whatever you're working on catch up with the surface. So let it dry before you continue working on it. So we're going to let that dry. We're going to move around, and we are going to bring this up together. But we're not going to be in a hurry where we're going to oversaturate and stain the surface. Let's see if we could. If I want to, so I basically move it out of the little ridge there on the easel so I can get over here. Always test your paint on the, that's why I have this test paper right here. Make a mistake here, not here. See if anything's going on over on YouTube. Nope, nobody there yet. I like what any guys and girls saw the movie Field of Dreams. I love the part when they say if you build it, they will come. In the beginning it says if you build it, he will come. But the same thing, I believe if you do something that people need, it will catch on. If you're giving something that other people aren't giving, it's going to catch on. So I'm giving these 100% generous, not holding back, free demonstrations on YouTube and Facebook. So I don't care if 2 people, 1 person, half a person, well there's no thing here that half a person. I don't care because I know it's going to take off. Because when you give quality, people are going to eventually catch on. That's why I invest in cameras and lighting, invest, of course, in 8 years of art school, painting for 20 some odd years, working hard every day, working on my craft, being a good artist so I can teach. Like I said, we're not going to over wet the surface. That's why I'm not pulling back too much. Staying a good distance away. We have all this hair here. It's going to be a lot of fun to do. As you can see, I move around. You want to move around because as this area gets darker, you realize you can get darker here. Simultaneous contrast, things are lighter or darker depending on what's next to it. So if something is lighter next to, if you have a color next to a really light white, it's going to look dark. If you have that same color next to a gray, a mid-tone, it's going to look lighter. If you take that same gray and you put it next to black, that gray is going to look very light. So it's not only the inherent color, but what's next to it that's going to change. Hey Joe, glad to have you back, sir. How are you, man? Definitely I'm picking up these eyebrows. There we go. The upper lip here is definitely darker. Usually the upper lip is much darker than the lower lip. That's sort of when you have a normal lighting condition. The upper lip is always going to be darker than the lower lip. So keep that in mind when you're working on your own paintings and drawings. So we got to make sure we have the form of her forehead here. So as I'm looking at the forehead, I can see that the drawing is a little bit off, and that happens because we're humans. Let's see, we're not Xerox machines. So let's go ahead and use our freehand shield to work on this contour here. So I rounded it out, and that was not correct, so a little more straight edged over here. This area comes out pretty far before it makes it turn up. You're always going to adjust the drawing, so don't worry about that. Unless it's like a radical problem, then, you know, yeah, worry about it. But just little things like that definitely can be adjusted. Let's see if we could work on here. We had a finger in the dark of this hair. It's in shadow and it's soft edge. No freehand shield needed. Right here. So with the freehand shield, you want to cover what you're not painting on, and so this way you always remember that. Beautiful hard edge, soft edge. Here we have a shadow. Cast shadow from the hair. I'm going to keep talking about that because I don't think that's being discussed enough with these airbrush demonstrations and classes, the difference between cast shadow and form shadow. So I'm going to continue to harp on that. Because that's what we are taught when you're in a classical painting class. We're not just painting what we see, we're understanding what we see so we can paint it better. So look for understanding. That's going to help you. Rather than give you secrets, I'd rather give you direction. I'd rather give you reinforcement that if you continue to practice, you'll get there. Not big on secrets that an artist is going to forget. Hey, how you doing? Oh, again, there you are, Liz. It isn't public, so that's what's going on. Liz, you are a lifesaver. There you go. Thanks, Liz. Boy, it's a good thing you're on my friends list, right? I'm so glad. You helped me out twice in a row, Liz. How are you? Ah, cool. How's your painting coming? There we go. So that's pretty cool. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Good to hear, Liz. Oh, yes. Isn't that the case, right? You will, don't worry. We go through times when we have not much time to paint, but it seems like it always makes itself up. Things always even out. We do what we have to do, right? So sometimes we can't be at the easel when we want to. Doesn't make you any less of an artist. Oh, cool. Well, that's good. If I can do that, Liz, that makes me happy. See how I got that nice, beautiful hard edge? That's going to go a long way. So I have two different angles. I have this one, and then this one's a little more close up. I like that. So I think I hit it. Let's see. There. I like that angle a little better. What about you guys? Okay, cool. How's that looking? Is it looking too dark, or what do you think? You got it's a nice color? Well, I think that's a good value from what I'm seeing on my computer screen. Okay, cool. Make sure I'm not missing anybody over on YouTube land. Okay, YouTube's fine. Alright. I always go ahead and do the test here, making sure, especially with this one, I have something inside the fluid nozzle there, which I'm not going to go ahead and do that while I'm live, because that's time consuming. So I'll just fiddle with it a little bit. See, now I don't have anything coming out, so that's good. But I am low on ink, and of course we go ahead and put some more of my 1 part ink, 1 part water. So if I was putting straight into ink here, it would be so dark, it would be horrible. So don't do that. When I begun using the ink mixture, I was sort of like 4 to 1. Well, 3 to 1. 3 parts ink, 1 part, 3 parts water, 1 part ink. And then I went today after I worked the whole painting. Now I'm going 1 part ink, 1 part water, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and maybe even put more ink in there, so as I go darker, to build it up. So I've been on here for, man, I would say closing in on an hour and a half. So I figure if I'm painting anyway, I might as well paint with you guys, right? So no problem. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some erasing, because remember, we are working with India ink, not acrylic. So if we were working in acrylic, we would not be able to do this because the pencil would not be able to be erased. So watch this. Any pencil lines go away. That's a good technique. So even if you're working, let's say oils, Liz, you can actually do a underpainting in India ink and erase the pencil and then go over it in oils. I know you work in oils sometimes, and acrylic paint, and you'll have this wonderful underpainting. So that's something to think about. So I have such a really clean surface right now. So yeah, so this would definitely help you with your, it's not, I wouldn't say help you, I said this might be a good technique to employ or try, right? You do just fine without this, but this might be something that you could give a shot. There's nothing like having that control of a pencil, right? And so for me to employ some of this pencil control in a painting really helps. Everything's sort of like a dagger stroke, even how I apply the eraser. So let's take our razor blade and let's see if we can go ahead and establish some of these highlights. Now when we do scratching techniques, do not go too rough into it, okay? Because we just want to scratch off that very outer layer of tone. And that's what we're going to do. Ever so lightly. There we go. We'll do the other eye. Ever so lightly. Pay attention. Always pay attention to where that highlight is on the eye. Is it over to the left? Is it in the middle? Off to the right? Is it up on top, towards the bottom? Always pay attention. So I kind of like the way that establishes. I mean, that's not where we're going to stay, but it's good to just go ahead and establish those highlights. Same thing here. Just the very outer layer. It helps us to reestablish the drawing. And also give us a really good indication on where we're going to put the darks. And I'm not really ripping into the surface. Normally things go a long way with getting the likeness. also makes the eye look a little fluid there. So it's great. We just keep coming back, you know, with the airbrush, the pencil, the razor blade, the erasers, and we just slowly build this up. Remember, we were over here before, and we said we're going to come back because we don't want to make it too wet. So we're just taking our time. We're going to keep going over that. See, because when you're working in India ink, it's a transparent. And how transparents differ from, let's say, working with an opaque is that each time you go over a transparent, it gets darker. So always be mindful of that. So we'll go ahead and switch cameras here. Always going to switch back and forth. Hey Jurgen, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. Go ahead and establish some of this anatomical forms here in her head, her forehead. It's not just a one big sphere, but there are indentations here in the top part of the skull, some muscles. So we're definitely going to notice that, look for that, and take that. So let's see what we have here as far as our freehand shields, where we can go ahead and reinforce this nice cartilage here. See that? Beautiful. Look how wet this is. I'll show you. So we have this right here, right? So we're freehand shielding, doo-doo-doo, having a good time. But then we go to reposition it. And then what happens is we reposition wet ink, and then that's on our artwork. And that would be bad. So always make sure you dry it before you move further, okay? That's gonna really help. And you know, I know that because I made a lot of horrible mistakes. So maybe watching this video, you won't have as many bad mistakes, right? So that would be cool. So I think I'm going to continue painting maybe for another half hour or so. And then I'm going to work on another project on my own. And I'm glad I was able to share this technique with you. Pay attention, guys. Don't go too wet. I almost did. I'm going to do some paintbrush techniques over here, not airbrush. Right now I'm just going to establish tone. Not staying in one area. Don't want to make it too wet. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's going to go a long way with saving you headaches down the line. I'm not going to do freehand shields as far as a separation from the background here. I'm after more of a sketchy, almost pencil-like work here. So I'm not worried about that. That's not what I'm looking for artistically here. It's always good when you start out with a piece to really ask yourself, what are my goals with this? What type of work am I looking to do? What kind of look am I wanting to establish? So right here we have her nostril, and with that we want to make sure we have a nice separation of the form from the shadow, which is going to be just to the right of it. See, nice far away, we're able to go ahead and have it soft. If I was closer, it would be too harsh. So let us take our aggressive eraser as soon as I can find it. And let's sort of fix this shape here. This shape here. So let's go ahead and do that technique that where we say draw it with a pencil, find it, find your shape, then work. So much better. Now we're drawing it knowing that we're going to erase it. These demonstrations are not look what I can do. These demonstrations are look what you can do. So, you know, you go ahead and say, all right, you just do everything with the airbrush. You know, what's the purpose? Purpose here is to get that shape correctly, so when I go ahead and apply the freehand shields, it works. Alright, Brian, so good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by. And so tomorrow, you're welcome, Brian-san. So basically, Thursday we'll work on your Viking painting. So remember, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock is the drawing demo in the other studio. So you see what I established with the pencil, so I'll know exactly what to do. So let's go ahead and take our freehand shield and nail these darks, okay? Before I do that, let's check the airbrush, make sure it's flowing correctly. Check tip dry. Make sure the checking nut is tight. Nothing on front. Alright, so let's get going. Alright. Had a little bit of a crawl here, nothing we can't fix. Now let's go ahead and see if we can work on this one area right here. If you find it's too harsh, it could be you need to have a little more distance. So make sure that you don't go too dark. All right, Brian, take care, man. There we go. So we hit that really nicely. Now remember, we have a pretty much 1-to-1 ink mixture, meaning that it is pretty dark. Remember, look how far away I am, probably about a good 6 inches. So with that, it's going to be lighter, and plus I'm pulling back a lot less. So I find on YouTube, most of my people on YouTube are from the UK. India, we have some from Serbia. So basically on YouTube, it's more of an international audience, which is really cool. And Facebook, we have a lot of Americans. That's why, I know I did this late at night, but that's when I felt like painting. And I thought I would share it with you guys. So yeah, that's why a lot of people aren't watching this live. It's all good. Go ahead and establish. Now right here, we have the line here. Let's see if we can establish that. It's really soft, so let's not even worry about freehand shields. First, let's see if we can establish the correct drawing of it. Just like that. Comes out even further, so let's go ahead and see if we can just create the correct boundary of it. I'm going to say anatomy, bones and muscles. You are my friends, but I don't know your name. And that's basically what's happening with me here. I know this little area here and this area of the cheek, I know there are names for it. I just don't know it. I will look it up tonight though. If I know it, it just helps to teach it better. Plus, the more I know about my subject, about what I choose to paint, whether it's portrait, landscapes, the more I know about it, the better I will become painting it. Let's go ahead and change the camera here. A little bit closer up. So you can see you're just slowly building it up. No rush. So since we're talking about erasing, let's go ahead and erase this drawing line here. So as we're going, we're erasing the pencil lines. So what we have left is just a pure ink painting. And also when we erase the pencil lines, we can definitely see where we have to go over it again, where we aren't as dark as we thought we were. Right now we're at 12:50. 1 o'clock, I am going to call it a night. But this is going to be an incredible learning utility for you if you watch it. And if you take notes and you apply it on your own. Part 1 is in my YouTube videos. So go ahead and subscribe so you can see those YouTube videos. And you can watch part 1 and part 2. And you follow along. I guarantee you'll be a better airbrush artist. So what are you waiting for? So as we continue doing this on our live feed, we're going to continue getting her darker and darker. We continue working back and forth, bringing everything up together. So what a great marriage of drawing and painting this technique, huh? So you can get as tight as the drawing as you want, as far as line goes. And then you can go ahead and go over with the ink, erase the pencil, go over it again, and continue working. So you are exactly where you want to be. Let's darken those eyes a bit more. Now when we go in with a much darker mixture, with more ink to water ratio, we can really pull this out. Let's take our eraser and see if we could refine some of the drawing. Wow, this is really a slow night. I don't see anyone here. It's all good, but it's a slow night. So even with this, if we want to change some drawing aspects, we can do that still. See that her eye is a little more round than I had her. So now I feel the eye is even better than it was before. control you get with this custom icon. It is a beautiful thing. Getting a little more subtle over here, but that's alright because I'm getting to that stage where it's not just mapping out large areas, I'm actually going back inside and doing variations of tone within tone. I know we have a lot more over here to do, maybe some of this arm and hand, but that's okay. I mean, normally I would go into that, but I think for now it's okay to start to establish some of the deeper areas, because this is our focus right here, and so we want to keep this ahead of everything else. So the hand, of course, is coming forward, but we still want to have a lighter contrast in her face, because if this hand is in more contrast, then her face is going to be her hand and then her face. I want you to see her, not her hand. Of course, I want the hand to look good, anatomically correct, all that stuff, but still, you want to make sure whatever's the star of your painting or drawing, let it be the star. So with that, let's go ahead and work on this area here that we've neglected a bit. Now the whole time with today, we are still at that 1-to-1 ratio of ink to water, and that's Higgins Waterproof India ink. 12:59, you know what that means. One more minute. So just go back to the beginning after this is, on the website. It's on YouTube. You can actually see the progression we made today. We actually did pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. I think we reestablished some of the darks. We got rid of a lot of the pencil. And we actually are setting up the hair. We're going to come in with paintbrush techniques. So that's going to happen. But that's down the line. I'm not going to go ahead and do all this if I could get some of this detail better with a brush. So whatever's better for the work. Remember, these demonstrations are not like, oh, look what I can do. It's what you can do. It's what, if you apply these techniques, what you can accomplish. That's what these are for. That's my reasoning. That's why I work so hard on these videos. That's why I pay so much money for lighting and cameras and sound, all those different things. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Those of you who are seeing the rebroadcast, I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'm going to do tomorrow night on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. I am going to do my weekly broadcast, live feed, drawing in my studio. We are going to continue working on the drawing of Angela for my Persephone series. So that's going to be really cool. So that's where we are today. So let's see here. So not bad. Happy with it so far. It could have some more subtlety, but that is something we're going to work on. So 1 o'clock in the morning, if I'm not going to bed yet. I still have other artwork to do, some things, so I'm going to take care of that. But thank you so much for coming by. It was a lot of fun. Joe, thanks for stopping by, man. Thank you so much for the advice on the compressor. I'll try and move a little further away. I have a small area, but maybe that'll help out, you know, until I get that silent feed air compressor, Joe. Then we won't hear anything, right? So thanks a lot, Joe, for stopping by, and everybody. You take care, and thanks again.